Aloha and howdy, greetings and blessings, my dear friends. Whoops, Duggar says hi, everybody. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. And I greet you, as always, with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And also that I continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to learn, to accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom from the universe, and that you continue to share. Now, with that said, greetings, everybody. How are you? Delaney, Teresa, Scratch, Chloe, Mossy Man, how are you all? Hey, yeah, everybody says, hey, Duggar. He went over and laid down on his little bed over there. But anyway, so it was a wonderful and interesting conversation on Milky Way Soul Tribe. And I've been trying to multitask today, which is difficult, trying to catch up with some information and decipher some of my own. And anyway, and then I just plumb forgot. Okay. So you can sue me for that one, for being late to Milky Way Soul Tribe, MST, for short. Anyway, hi, Michelle. How are you? And did I miss anybody? Oh, no. So today and some yesterday of catching up with some, things on the side. Now, I always look at the things that I become aware of that I don't talk to you all about sometimes anyway, ahead of time, because I'm always looking for confirmation from the spirits or whatever, right? Say, okay, I've got this feeling and this, and I've, kind of seen this, pictures in my head, Now, what does that all mean and how does this all come together? And then I see a video or read an article and, and it's like, this one was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I was like, I kept waiting for there to be something wrong with the message. Because there's some discrepancy. And I was like, oh my God, it just was like, zoom. Now, not to pat myself on the back, but I was like very glad that the basic message that I've been talking about for quite some time now about, our core values, keeping ourselves together. And here recently, I recently has been in the last year, basically, about be the observer. And they even said specific words that I have used before, like be the observer and stay out of the chaos. And I went, what? It's like, have you been watching my videos? Or maybe these folks are getting the same downloads that I am, whatever that frequency is. So I consider myself humbled at the fact that, oh, holy cow, the information I seem to have in my observations, and also, little blips here and there of little glimpses of things they send me, little pictures, little videos in my head to watch, But in that, I've talked about the energy wave, and that the wave was going to be, really, to some folks, it was going to be very traumatic. And even back when Brian was still with us on this plane, and by the way, the other night when I got done with that video I was doing, or that with Robert V on Friday night, I swear, I was going to say something, then I was like, nah, but I swear it felt like Brian had his hand on my shoulder and went like, thumbs up, good job. So, but anyway, so in what is going on, there is the quantum wave. And now the big wave of energy that everybody's been talking about. Cobra talked about it, about the event is coming soon, right? We've all heard about that at some point. And if not, it's much quieter than it was a few years ago. But I kept up to date with some of the stuff, and some of the things felt right to me. And other stuff was just like, this sounds like a bunch of baloney, but what do I know? So, and, people talking, well, we've had these conversations with all these ET folk and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, okay, Well, I have what, I would consider my inside information, but I'm just calling that basically my spirit guide as to sort of what's going on. And you know me, I very rarely make any claim to talking with any ET entity, although sometimes I kind of wonder. And back when I was in Ohio about 5 or 6 years ago at the site of the petroglyphs, I took pictures of these beautiful blue orbs everywhere, and had this entity talking to me and how to set the camera and how to take the pictures and where to point the camera. And it was all like these entities all got together in a group photo. And the entity told me that at some future point that I would be contacted, and that it was just like, here's my voice. I want to have this conversation with you. And I'm kind of remembering it, even though it's been several years ago. It feels like it was just yesterday or earlier today. So in certain things, it doesn't seem like any time has elapsed. As far as that contact in here and the event of me being in Ohio. So, but anyway, I recently had the voice come in and go, "Hi, Hawkeye, it's me." And I went, "Oh, really? Whoa, haven't heard from you in a while." And what the message was, very simple. I just wanted to say hi because we may be sending you information. And that was it. And I was like, "What information? What?" I'm just saying hi. Just wanted to see if you could remember my energy, I guess. Essence, the phone, their voice over the phone. So anyway, what's that got to do with this? From these impressions or whatever, I've just been watching stuff. But now when other people come up and repeat what I've been talking to you about, word for word for word for word, I'm like, oh, holy crap. There must be something to this. Because they're supposedly higher ranking officials and have, their own ET contact. But that's what I find most interesting. But the recent information is the quantum wave collapse. And so I was like, wait a minute, what you talking about, Willis? What are you talking about? And then I realized that any wave that comes in on the ocean or on the water, it could be a lake or even the river if the wind is up enough. But anyway, so the idea, though, when a wave crests, okay, so you got a wave coming up, but then the wave will collapse. Okay, so it's like, wait a minute, it's gonna, okay, so it's gonna collapse. So now something that was brought up and has been brought up before, not sure if I talked about it, but it's like, what is the timeline? And something that was made more perfectly clear today, and it made some of the stuff that I was like, what do you mean events? And it made sense to me today. Like, oh, holy cow. It's not how much time in our reality and on with us on this planet. It's not like a day or a week or a month or a year. That's not it. It's event related. So if certain events don't take place, then it's not time. And you might say, well, wait a minute, what does that mean? Well, because the universe is vast and there's a lot of stuff going on all kinds of levels. And there's some heebie-jeebies that I don't think some people are aware of, but I'm not going to go into that right now. I'm just, I kind of want to stay out of that. And try to stay with the positive side of what this is. So in my reference, back when Brian and I were doing discussions about this, and I was showing you, it even goes back probably 2 years where I was showing that, we're getting all of these energy waves that are coming in and hitting the earth and how it affects, our magnetosphere and how it affects the planet, and I brought up the Schumann resonance all the way back then, and Brian and we discussed it. And so, and what all these energies are, well, it's not like, I stopped reporting on them as far as every day and what's going on, because it's gotten crazy nuts out there. And saying we're getting hit by cosmic energies, if you want to know what kind and how much it's making our magnetosphere bounce around like this, compasses are not being right at some point, and it might be that it points mostly north but not really north, and sometimes it'll point a little toward the northeast and maybe a little toward the northwest, and things are fluctuating. Also, the planet is wobbling. It was pretty stable there for a while, but we've gone into a wobble, and some other scientists out there are going, is the Earth wobbling? And I was like, yay! Somebody in the scientific community has actually mentioned it a few weeks back, and I was like, thumbs up, guys, And it was even brought up today by another channel I was listening to, and the gentleman was talking about. He says, I don't need to listen to NASA, and I don't need to listen to other astronomers. I go out on my back porch and I look up at the stars, and I can tell myself if the planet is wiggling or whatever. And he even said, because in the wintertime, I do the same thing. Where is the Pleiades, the seven sisters, in the sky? Because where it's movement, this or that, the universe ain't moving, but we will. And we are. So, but anyway, he even used the Pleiades as his reference point. And I was like, this is like, there was a lot of, confirmations for me on so many levels. And I was like, me too. That's what I've been using, So there are other people out there making their own observations and coming up with the same conclusions I am. Oh, crazy Dave down here in the swamp, right? So, but anyway, so the cosmic waves, the quantum. Now you can say, well, what is the quantum? It's the subatomic, okay? And it's the atomic. It's all kinds of things related. And there are those folks, and they're trying to, they want to crank up CERN again, by the way. And that some of these fools actually think they're going to open a rift into another dimension. Now, any of us that have watched any kind of sci-fi about, open wormholes or portals to other places, it never ends well, right? So, and here's the thing. Well, we want to see if we can reach these others in other dimensions. Why? Well, because maybe these guys watch Stargate, and that's what they want to create. Well, a great big, however many mile round, track under the ground this is, et cetera, et cetera. And what they want to do with it. Oh, well, we're not going to hurt anything, but you want to open a time and space. You want to open a portal to another dimension. That is what you want to do. And I would say that and this is sort of the warning that was coming down with other messages, that if they do this, they're trying to screw with timelines right now. So let's go back to the wave. What's that got to do with CERN and everything? Okay, because they're trying to, as we reach the crest of the wave, it speeds up. And then after the wave goes by, you got the downhill run to Pockepe Bay, Southern Cross, Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Anyway, so as we're like a surfboard on the front of this thing, hauling butt, right? But as soon as you crest that wave, which is the collapse, then if you get past the front of the wave, the surfer just sits on the wave and it goes right on by, right? So think of it in those terms. Well, I've been talking about that we all need to get in our inner tubes and we need to hang on. And it was even quoted to don't get a knot in your underwear kind of thing. And I was like, what? Have they, they've been listening to, I doubt they've been listening to my show, but that's not the point. maybe we've all been listening to the same creative place. Okay. So the information is that it's not about what time it is by our watch in any way, calendars or whatever, because it is about events that will take place first and how long it takes for those events and what those events are. Well, there's a bunch of them. Okay. Now, in the meantime, there are some really scary beings that are trying, I've talked about the Vlash and the Mater, the Matre. Some of these folks are saying, I'm going, whoa, who, but you're pronouncing it a different way. So they know the same bad guys that I'm aware of. And they're like, which would you rather have? Which would you rather be imprisoned by? These guys who want to eat you, but these guys who want to control you. They're both bad guys, but one is a tad worse than the other. So that was even confirmed in ways that I was like, holy cow, their information and mine through other channels and watching all these other things. I'm going, holy crap. So I don't think they know the people I know, maybe, and that they're listening, or this person over here is, or this, they're tuned into this channel, or they're listening to this one over here on the other side of the planet. Not sure. But what is coming out is that all of this information, from my point of view now, all this information is almost exact from all these different areas. Okay. And I have to say to myself, whoa, I don't remember at any time up to this point where so many, I don't want to say different factions, but different areas of the planet, different stations, tubes, people, but now it's like they're less than 5% off on a lot of stuff. And it's like, so that makes me believe we are in the middle, in the front of this wave, and things are speeding up. And we just look around us, and many of us are feeling electric shocks. Hey, Project Skyfalls. Trina, how are you? David, Castle, Michelle, Crystal, MacArthur, and I missed somebody. Blessings, Project Skyfalls. Yeah. Hi, I think that's who I was just missing. Yep. Candy Apple Scratch, I think I said hi. Did I miss anybody? Be dazed. Hi, what if the earth is not wobbly? What if it is vibratory? It's both, but it's wobbling because of the vibrations. I know that's a little, weird, but the wobble is caused by the instability of mass on the earth. Okay, the earth is spinning, and if it's like a tire out of balance. Okay, that's the simplest way I can tell you. If you get if a wheel weight falls off, that at a certain vibration, that front or back tire is going to and you're going to have to go get it fixed, or ruin a tire or your front end. But to the point you say, oh my God, my car there's something wrong with my car. Yeah, it's out of balance. So there are things and pressures upon the planet, and earthquakes over here. There's magma movement underneath the plates. Watch Dutch Sense. So there are these magma chambers that are moving. There's lava movement, and then there's the earth spinning. So it's like there's a little bit too much weight on one side, and the earth goes into wobble. But you can see it by watching the stars from the same. You have to be in the same spot. Pick any spot that you got a good clear view of whatever you're going to use as a marker. Right now Pleiades and Mars are like right overhead, which is interesting because Mars is overhead, and if these planets are supposed to be like lined up, here's Mars and here's Jupiter, then Saturn, and they're all in a line. No, they ain't. Because when I look at them in the sky, Mars is way up here, and Jupiter and Saturn are way lower in the sky. So this idea that the planets are all aligned is not true. All you have, because otherwise, Mars straight overhead would also have, then Venus, I'm sorry, not Venus, but Saturn and Jupiter would also be straight overhead. So you go, well, wait a minute. Here's Mars. That's the closest one to us. But then Jupiter and Saturn are way to hell. They're like 20 degrees off over here in the sky. So, but then there are some times when Jupiter's a lot higher. Well, wait a minute. Did Jupiter and Saturn both move? No, but the Earth wobbled. Because if you look at it, you got to do it about the same time, within an hour. Okay, it's not like, well, at 11 o'clock every night I got to be outside. But it's not a bad thing. And if it's cloudy or whatever, try to take the moon and see where it's at. For several months during the summer, the moon was really stable. It was like, staying within its normal parameters. And then September came, and it went from down here in the sky where I could see it out my window here to way up and then back down again. And it was like, and this was over the course of like 3 days, 4 days maybe. But I was like, what the hell? So we went into a wobble, and the scientists even spoke about it, astronomers and other folk, not just YouTubers, but, supposedly real scientists. And I believe that there are some astronomers out there who would really like to talk about this, but they know they'll get their butt chewed out and sanctioned or tossed off or whatever. But, I see it as it is. But I always tell you, go outside and make these, observations yourself. But other people have been doing it, and they're saying, yep, we're in a wobble again. And yep, this is happening. And yep, did you see, okay. So just saying. Now, the cosmic wave, what do we have to worry about this? It is the event that a lot of people were talking about. And it's not a, let me back up. There are some who would contend that one day we're all going to wake up and feel different. Well, I've been waking up the last 2 or 3 months feeling different, going, what the hell? But with all the commotion of the wave coming through and all the chaos that they're throwing at us, and yes, they're using dark magic, and yes, they're using all these things. But here's the thing we have to be aware of. We can't let that deter us from our own objective. Well, yeah, Halloween, it's like a bad day, and all these people. Okay, stop right there. You already know what it's used for by many people, so don't talk about it. You got to stay neutral, because the more you discuss it, the more your energy and your feelings go into what they want. They want you to feed off the chaos. And that was what was so interesting about the one video I saw today. 3 people were agreeing on the same thing. And I was like, but I haven't been watching you recently, but that's what I've been talking about. Stay out of the chaos. Be the observer and step in only when necessary. And I was like, but either they're reading my minds or we're all tuned into the same cosmic radio station, which is fine. So in this, I just want to say, am I right? I don't know. But there are a lot of things that are just hitting home with me that I was kind of like, well, I'll talk to you about these, but am I going to try to make you believe? Well, now there are other folks who are talking about this stuff and on the I guess the same frequency level, even the same words that I'm using. So in that, I wonder, is this, the cosmic plan that we start all sharing the same kind of vibrational energy about this? And what was impressively said, and I've sort of been saying this all along, we're the ones who are going to have to calm the other folks down. There are going to be people that are just not going to understand this. And there are times, and even the other night when I was talking about energies, and that the other day, I had no clue what I did that day. Normally I can say, well, on Tuesday I did this, Wednesday I did that, Thursday we, went outside, something. Nothing, nada. And I wasn't asleep. That's the interesting part. So it was like there were timelines coming in and out. And I remembered today, I was like, I was, there was some in one of my realities. I had a mouse in my hand, was putting him in a cage and having a discussion with somebody about whether or not the mouse could get out of the cage because I hated using the traps, but I just couldn't have the mices doing their mice, chewing stuff up business. So, but anyway, I was like, it's almost like timelines are trying to merge thing, and because of this energy wave in the cosmic, many of us are experiencing things we don't normally experience. I mean, like I think it was Spitfire that said something in the chat on uh, Milky Way Soul Tribe and about the neck. And there's been a couple of pains in my neck, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Now, I've had years of neck injury, but lately it feels like I'm being stabbed, and it's one tiny little point. It's not like a big muscle. Today, I was outside with Duggar for a little bit, and it felt like a giant mosquito was biting me. And I looked down on my leg and there wasn't nothing there, but it felt somebody was sticking me with a really sharp needle down deep in my leg. And I just looked down at it and went, what the hell are you doing? What is going on here? I mean, literally, it was like somebody had stabbed me. So I was just like, well, there ain't nothing there. So, and I don't worry about, well, some energy might be attacking me or something. You have to stay out of that, because you have to have the faith. Oh, golly, there was something about fear. Anyway, I'll have to try to remember that later on. But to this point, though, so the energy wave, this energy wave that's already here, that's why we're feeling this jumble. That quantum wave is here. Now, as the wave collapses, and that doesn't necessarily mean that, it's a building collapsing. Just, hi, Joyce. Remember, though, that it is related to waves, ocean waves. Just think that a wave crashes into so the wave collapses. We're still on the wave. We're still on the water. It's still with us. And that it could be from, and I've been talking about 2022, 2023 for a while now. But that a lot of folks agree, Simon Parks and a bunch of other folks, that up to 2022, 23, there is where this stuff's going to be. And we're going to have to ride it out. There's going to be changes, political, monetarily, all kinds of stuff. Now, we'll see. But just sticking with the energy part of this. So one day we feel like we're going mad. I mean, literally, and smoking a doobie don't do no good. If anything, it maybe makes you worse. And then there are days like for me the other day, I just kept wandering around going, I'm going to do something. Then I just find myself standing in the middle of the room doing nothing. So, thank God I have the privilege to do that at my age. But anyway, but to the point though, a lot of other people are feeling bored or antsy or, trapped within, they say, the system. But is it just the system? Or is it all of these other energies and things thinking about the waves? So my having this conversation with you all tonight is a reinforcement, okay? Things are going to get hairy. How hairy? A lot of it may depend on how we react or overreact, or in some cases that we stay neutral. And that was one of the things that was emphasized across 3 different platforms, is that it was important. It is important for us to maintain the observer point of view and not allow the chaos to suck any of the energy out of us. We must stay out of that, because when other people are really going to be losing it, our collective cosmic job, because we're all here and that we're understanding this in whatever level we can grasp this, okay? um, it's going to be injurious to some folks. And you say, well, what do you mean? Because they're awakening of whatever, and they're not going to be able to. What do you mean it's cosmic energy? What do you mean it's this? What do you? Oh, I'm going crazy. And they want going to want to pop more pills, and we're going to have to be the ones that go, calm down. It'll be okay, calm down. But this is going on and that's going on. And yeah, but you can still stay calm. Be the observer and be truthful with yourself. I was watching a series earlier today, and it had a dragon in it. All right, so the dragon looks at the guy and he says, when you look into the darkness will look back into you. And I went, whoa, whoever wrote that there's a message right there. If you look into the darkness will look back at you. Now, is that necessarily a bad thing? No. But the thing is that it's how you understand that darkness. And there are people who still need to do internal work. And to them, it's the darkness. Now, in pulling cards, and I'm going to pull some cards here in a little bit, okay? So those of you that can hang on. And I'll do what I can. And Teresa, I don't know whether that, when I pulled that card the other day, if it really made any sense or not to you. Crystal, hi. Ed Hagel, how are you? Joyce, I don't think I said hello. Yes, Joyce, shadow work. But in the shadows, understand this. When the shaman rode the back of a black horse and the horse took him off, the horse took him into the darkness so that he could find the answers in the silence. What? Now think about that. So rather than the darkness having, negative entities, come here, Duggar, say hi to everybody. Come here. Come here. I ain't going to let you out yet. Come here and say hi. Come here. Here's Duggar. Duggar, say hi. Oop, got him a little close. Come on, Duggar. Say hi to everybody. Howdy. Woof. Oh, calm down. Just calm down. Calm down. You can go out in a little bit. It's just another kitty cat. You want to go chase around the yard. Just go calm down. Okay? Go calm down. Come on over there. Go calm down. Yeah, oh, don't shake your head at me. Well, you too. He's going to be that way. So now I forgot where I was. Oh, I said I was going to pull cards later on. Oh, and talking about the darkness. Okay. So one of the things that scares people off is that you say, now I agree with you. Don't get me wrong here now. But when you say you have to do shadow work, they're thinking, oh, there's something evil in there. Well, it just might be something in the darkness. And as bear, when you go into hibernate, you go into the darkness where the silence is to find the answers to the questions that have already been asked. And you say, well, I want an answer about this. Well, you have to be silent in order to hear the answer. Well, if you're jabbering and looking all around, if you don't shut up long enough to hear the message or to see the message, like I was talking about in a previous video, about, how the spirits talk to us through nature and natural things and all kinds of ways. And it's our awareness of these things. So, but anyway, so with the energy waves and everything that are obviously, they're here, and many of us could feel it earlier on in the year. And I think even Brian and I discussed it, before his demise, in that we could all feel a change. We couldn't put our finger on it, but we all were feeling a change. And we all are feeling a change now. So to, not necessarily wrap this up, but rather than to try to drag this out, the quantum energy is in us all. Each one of us, and I'm against using God or goddesses, okay? Because that implies that we are a God. What we are angels, every one of us. So, and each one of us as angels are equal to the other, okay? So I would rather than say God or godlike, which turns a lot of people off. As angels, there are things that we can do as spiritual beings, and we are all equal in this. Whether we understand it now in this life, some people more, some people less, some people understand this a little more, and some people don't. It's okay. But we're all together in this, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, hobos and tramps, cross-eyed mosquitoes, and bow-legged ants. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about the history of, anyway. So the quantum energy. Now, these waves have been spotted years ago by astronomers, okay, coming from parts of the galaxy. And there's some that recently came in from like the backside of the galaxy. Where'd that come from, right? They were looking over here expecting something, and it sort of like came in the back door. So these energies are all around. They're being created, well, in a lot of ways from different places. But these energy waves have been coming at us for a while, okay? So now that the wave is cresting and is, quote, about to collapse, this quantum energy that is in us all is going to freak some people out. I know there are some of us now. If I didn't understand what I do now, a few years ago, I would have been taking my psych pills and going to my, mental health clinic and going, I don't know what the fuck is going on here. Somebody help me. And now, of course, I'm not on their medicines anymore, but now understanding that there are greater things out there that are not just affecting me, but they're affecting all of us. So we have to, and I can't believe it, how much they were like saying the same thing I've been telling y'all, which is like great news to me, in that there are a bunch of us on the same page. In that we got to keep our core values, we got to be truthful in ourselves. So, and doing that work in the darkness does not necessarily mean working with dark objects. It just means there's no light, so that it's not distracting you. You're in the darkness to hear the answers that to the questions that you asked or that have been asked. So, and if you're outside in broad daylight, it's kind of hard to hear those meditations. Now, not always, because sometimes nice, bright, sunny days are great, but to the point though, but if you've got your eyes closed and you're swimming in the darkness and without fear, so that you just want to listen to the answers to those questions. Now, I've said this before and I want to reiterate this. Don't ask a bunch of questions in a row. Keep it simple. I want to know if I'm going to be okay for the next week or so. Is my energy going to be okay? And if not, will you come help me? But if you've got like, I want to understand more about what this higher thinking means, or what does it mean about animals and my relationship, or what does it mean for nature to be important in my spiritual development, which was another thing that was brought up. And I was like, yay, First Nation people, here's an interesting part of this. And you think about this. Now, the bad guys have been out this for a long time, right? So you think about the English, you think about the French, and you think about the Spanish, who came to the New World, right? And they had an agenda to wipe out all native peoples, not just in North America, but in South America. They brought diseases, they brought guns, they brought, they brought all kinds of stuff to get rid of and annihilate the not just Native Americans now, all uh, um, First Nations, and that means any tribe anywhere on the planet, okay? Africa, India, China, South America, doesn't matter. It's the First Nation people. It's the people who lived with the land. It's the folks that live in yurts, and it's the nomads. It's, oh my God. So in this, so they did their best to wipe out all of those indigenous peoples because why? Because they had a better connection with the Creator than the churches did. Because the churches always preached dominion over the earth. And First Nation folks built huts and teepees, and, they didn't build long-term structures, not as a general rule. There are those exceptions, but, they carved into the mountains down in the Southwest, United States. They've dug tunnels here and there, and they built Machu Picchu, and the ancients have done a lot of stuff. But to the point, though, and if you think they did it with a stone chisel and a hammer and a piece of brass, forget about it. But the First Nations people had basically the true religion, and that included everything. It was to do no harm. So and it wasn't just white people, okay, but it was the bad guys, and you can blame the Vatican because they were behind it, and the queens and things and stuff. But to the point, though, their agenda was to wipe out indigenous people, and they did. And what are they trying to do now? They're trying to wipe out indigenous people. I'm indigenous. You're indigenous. We live here. So it's like, so these folks want to do what they've already have done in the past. Now, whether or not we allow it, different story. But here's the thing that really ticks them off. We can see it. We see what they're doing. And that ain't going over well with some of these folks. So along with the cosmic wave, they in themselves are trying to hurry things along because, remember Agenda 21? They're behind. They did not meet their goal. And for what anybody else wants to tell you, just look at what they talk about in Agenda 21, Agenda 30. And one of the interesting things I found out there are little old ladies sitting in their dining rooms, my age, talking about this stuff. I mean, middle America folks going, you know about Agenda 21, don't you, Sally? And you know what they're trying to do. Well, you can tell what these people are trying. They're trying to, push this agenda forward. And I'm like looking at these little old ladies going, y'all ain't as dumb as you look. I mean, you can say, well, here's this middle American person, with a nice blouse on and a nice hat. Not there's anything wrong, but then, there's me, the old hippie dude down in the woods. It's a hermit, So, but the contrast, and I look and I go, yay for you folk, having nothing to do with how you live, middle class. That ain't it. It's the fact that people of all different levels are waking up to things that I was like, maybe they would just see that, that the fake news thing really is the true thing. Oh no, these people, they're like Agenda 21 and they're talking stuff. And I'm like, now that's interesting. So where I was kind of sort of having this feeling, it was my own, by my own generation that I generated the thought. In that I felt like it was only those of us on the fringes, if you will, who was really getting some of this bigger picture. Like if you mention Agenda 21, folks know what you're talking about. You don't have to describe it or discuss it, And those who know Agenda 21 also know about Agenda 30. So, oh my God, that means they know about these people and the cabal. So that means they understand a lot of stuff that I would not necessarily had given them credit for. You know what I'm saying? Well, but she's, this is grandma mom in the suburbs, and she's talking weird stuff. Hooray! Now ain't talking aliens, but they're talking cabal and stuff. And I'm like, holy crap. So that means she's hanging out with her local knitting group or going down to the booty parlor, and and they're having these discussions. Okay. So I'm impressed and I'm encouraged. There are more people who I thought was a little flaky there. No, there are little grandmas out there who know what the F is going on, and they're discussing it with their friends. Wow. Now that's encouraging, I find, because that means there are a lot more of us awake in different areas, like I hope and pray. No, but they're starting to do videos and stuff about it. And I'm like, yay, So anyway, so what is the quantum wave doing? It's doing what we're seeing. I say little old grandmas because I'm 68, but people who wouldn't normally speak about these things are. And they're taking offense to other people who are going, well, you don't know what you're talking about. And these are intelligent people. Some of them are retired teachers. Some of them may be still involved in the teaching profession, talking about how bad the curriculum is and how stupid some of these kids are. And that the kids that are in the cities are dumber than the kids in rural communities, probably because of all the chemicals and the thises and the that's and neighborhoods and all of the stuff. But that the kids in smaller communities and in rural areas actually are smarter than the kids in town, which it used to be the other way around a long time ago, right? So damn hillbillies, you don't know nothing. Well, now the hillbillies know more than you, and they're healthier because they've made life choices. They've chosen to live in the mountains. They've chosen to live in a little log cabin, and they're good with the fact that they might get snowed in 2 or 3 times a year easy, or that when the creek rises and they can't go across because there's no bridge, they're going to be stuck there for a couple of days. They understand that. They live that. I got a relative, I got a niece that lives up there. So, and the idea, though, that when you accept a certain particular thing about your life and you're living it because you like it. I mean, her and her husband and kids up there, they love it up there in the mountains. And boy, would I like to go visit them. Maybe I can hitch a ride. But anyway, con my sister into taking me with her. Anyway, so, hey, Lynn, I'll pay for the gas if you'll drive. But anyway, to go visit her daughter. So, and they go ginseng. They go singing ginseng. So I could get some fresh ginseng while I'm there too. But anyway, the idea, though, that with what's going on right now, politics aside and all this, and they're getting crazy. I'm going to mention this one thing, the commercial that has come out about Biden, where it's been really quiet. Now he's talking about how Biden is going to bring jobs back to America, and that Trump hadn't done anything about jobs, and that unemployment is down. Well, unemployment is down because it was everybody shut the country down. And if anything, Trump's been trying to, unmask us, And I was glad to see down in Tallahassee last night, there were actually folks in the stands, and I was like, you go, Tallahassee, because there was a big discussion, and Pete DeSantis and everything for the governor for Florida and everything. Well, they take the mask, everybody's going to get sick. And I was, wait a minute. If I want to go to a football game, and I buy the ticket and there's 100,000 other people there that want to buy a ticket and be there too, then that means we have all agreed we're going to take the chance. And it's none of your freaking business whether I want to go to a football game or not. I'm sorry. If I want to go and not wear a mask and sit out in the open with a bunch of other people watching a football game, I should be allowed to do it. And nobody, not any government, should tell me, well, you can't go to the game. You got to see, you got to distance yourself. You got to do this. You got to do that. Oh, screw you. That's my little tirade on that. But in that, I was proud to see some of these folks going, I'm going to the game. Screw it. You know, I'm sorry, but you, so now there's only a third of the stadium or something like that, and people were but they were sitting in groups scattered around the stands. I loved it. I applauded the Florida State fans for being there in the stadium. You know, you go guys. Yeah, it's just down the road for me. So, but anyway, so in other places, you know, there's a couple people. Oklahoma, I think it was the Oklahoma game that there were people in the stands. I was like, yeah, you do it. I think the Notre Dame game had folks in the stand, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, so but this idea that they want to put us in fear. And Joe Biden, the commercial is like, you know, Trump has taken all our jobs away. Now, let me tell you, Biden was in there when I lost my job. Okay. He was in the Senate. He helped vote in NAFTA and all of the other provisions in NAFTA. And so, which gave all our jobs in the United States out of the country. And now he's posting this thing that he helped America. He helped America become the service nation because that's what Billy Clinton and the Democrats have been promoting for the last 30 years. Okay. And that we were going to be the service economy. We are all going to work for frickin' McDonald's and Walmart. And all of the jobs have left. You've heard me talk about this before, but I want to be emphatic about this. So this commercial that they're running, that Trump is the one that was responsible. There are more jobs that have come, more manufacturers that have come back in the United States, whether you like Trump or not. It's a fact. What did Biden do for it? He sent everything overseas. He was for the NAFTA. He was in the Senate. He was the vice president. He was responsible for losing jobs in America. And what does he say in his recent commercial? Let's make things in America again. What? What's Trump been saying for the last 4 years? You know, I'm just saying. So now he's trying to pick up Trump words. You know, well, I'm Joe Biden and I approve this message. Yeah, but you know, if we look at, you know, who you were as a senator and what you voted for and what you did not stand up against, you were all for NAFTA and all you folks, and you were right along with that thing to send all these manufacturing jobs overseas. Now shut up, Joe, and talk about that it's Trump's fault. Now, that's just a blatant lie because I was, you know, lost my job along with a lot of other people because of what he and others signed in the Senate and the House of Representatives, too. It went across the board. But this idea of that they're the ones that are trying to save us. It was the Democrats who signed in the bill, OK, when he was vice president and also in the Senate in that transition where my Social Security, OK, they told me in a letter that they were only going to go back 20 years of my Social Security. I've been, and how much I've paid in. I've been paying in since I was 13, since like 1964 or 1960, yeah, 1964-ish. Anyway, and they said, oh, no, we can't, we're not going back that far. No, we're going to base what you make per month only on what you earned in the last 20 years. So, but I've worked for 40 some odd years and you're not going to count all that money no. Now Biden was in on that. So he's telling everybody in his commercials that Trump wants to cut Social Security. No, Trump has already given us a raise and he said we should get another one. Trump is the one that raised the cap on Social Security. In other words, somebody who makes $1 million only has to pay Social Security, not income tax, but Social Security. We all have to pay the same amount. up to $200,000. Trump upped it to 300. Okay. Now, is that still fair? No, but it's better than what the Democrats had set when Biden was in office. Boy, did I get off on a tirade. But this idea, I mean, he is lying through his teeth. Okay. Chaos, lies. What are these folks putting out there? See, I just got caught up in my own chaos, but it really burns me up when I saw this commercial tonight going, that is not true at all. That is so false. So what I would tell people, wait, who was in the Senate when they passed NAFTA? Who was in the Senate? Who was for the South Pacific Partnership Thingy Act, right? Who were going to send more jobs and stuff overseas to China? Who was in on that? Obama and Biden. So, if you want to say, well, this person, that person, there are facts. And the fact is, he's lying, period. And so it's like, does that surprise you? No. But he's lying about some facts that were like, should be obvious to everyone, not some secret in a corner somewhere. I mean, even Hunter Biden, we knew about that when it was going on. The Ukraine was going crazy over that stuff. And Obama and them go, there's nothing going on over there, and now they want to indict him. Indict him. Arrest them fuzzy bastards, and put them in jail. I got picked up for a little bit of weed. You guys would over and try to overthrow a government and put in oil and what? People were killed. But I spent, a year in jail for a little bit of weed. What the hell? I'm sorry. What's fair is fair, right? So anyway, I'm going back to the cosmic wave. That's what they're doing. So even with me, they put these commercials out there. But here's the thing. For those people who are gullible enough to listen to old Joe are going to go, oh, I hate Trump. Yeah, that must be true. When it's not. Well, it must be true. It's not. Some of these other things, but there are certain things. Who was in the Senate during that? Who was vice president when that? Who was what? Where were you, Joe? But you say that you were trying to get jobs into America when you signed bills to take them out of America. Trump stopped the Pacific Partnership thing, which was going to do what? Make NAFTA look like a candy store, so what do we do? Stay out of the chaos. There are blatant things that have come out here. And if some of your friends want to talk about Biden, then say, that commercial he ran, that's he signed on to NAFTA, which sent jobs out of America. And someone, me, and I know 720 other people that lost their jobs up here. So it's like, hang on, you do know someone who lost their job over NAFTA. I was the second person in the state of Georgia to receive extended unemployment benefits because of NAFTA. Now, that was signed by George Bush, but thank goodness they did that back then. But they knew they made a mistake if they extended people's social unemployment. They realized they messed up. Who was in the Senate at the time? Biden. Okay. So all this rhetoric and all this stuff, just point him. You don't have to argue. Just say, where was he during that time? When NAFTA and all this, when all those jobs went? Who was in? He was a Democrat along with Billy Clinton. And he supported all that. He supported Hillary Clinton for president. What kind of agenda did she have? You know what I'm saying? This idea of bringing millions of jobs back to America. He'll bring millions of jobs back to America if they just quit telling people to wear a mask everywhere and scaring everybody to frickin' death. That's the thing. People are so afraid to be with someone else now without a mask. Oh, they don't have a mask on. Oh my God, terror, fear. Oh my God, and they're pushing the boundaries. So Combine that with the just the normal everyday craziness of a collapsing quantum wave, which is enough to make anybody want to go talk with the squirrels and understand them, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But the idea, though, that these other folks are pumping, promoting, and I mean, God Almighty, the blatant lies. I mean, before in politics, like, yeah, they're kind of stretching it there. No, they're just making this shit up. I mean, he's just making it up. What do? We stand strong, Soul Tribe. For you all members of the League of Like-Minded Beings. And it's not just a tribe, it's even more than that, because over the last 2 or 3 days, the information I've gotten from other sources to back up those things that I've seen, felt, whatever, and have discussed with you all, I'm really encouraged. Now, none of us know what it's, how do I put this? You know, what those feelings are going to be and how it's going to affect us. But each one of us is on their own different path. Each one of us, even though we're all human beings around, mostly hybrids and some of us, we're mostly wired. But you never know how a person with O-type blood is going to react versus a type with B blood or A, or the A positive or A negative, and the RH factors within us, and how our DNA is. So these quantum energies and these waves of energy, like Paul Begley says, you know, and it's all apocalyptic. Now, I spoke about this too the other day in my spirit thing, but it got brought up in 2 of the videos today that I was catching up on, and it's that they wrote the Bible and they wrote the ending. Okay, everything's got to collapse and everything's got to be this, and we're all going to die, and all of this, you know, it's Armageddon, and it's this and it's that, and we're, you know, it's the apocalypse. But the thing is that when you look at what the words mean, we're already in the apocalypse. It's the lifting of the veil. It's not necessary. It's the end of a lot of crap. And we're seeing it. The veil's being lifted. Whether you want to count, you know, well, there are cities with 7 hills and 7 dragons and all that. When you look at some of these secret societies and things, there are, you know, dragon, not cults, but, you know, dragon families, and this family, and like the mob, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And so we have to understand that all of this is true. And behind a lot of these, quote, mobsters of different types, there are some type of otherworldly, quote, ET, alien kind of, you know, interference or backing or something. And there's too much history and it's out there, you know, because these are ancient philosophies that some of these people are trying to pull with us and all. So what do? We keep an eye on them. We can see their game. And the best way to beat them at their game is to not play it. So my discussion the other night in the video was that you only participate as much as you have to. Now, you got to have insurance in Georgia, and you got to have a driver's license, and you got to have a tag. So it's like, if I want to drive a vehicle, now I have the right. I am a sovereign being and a sovereign citizen in the state of Georgia. But if I go driving my car without a tag on it, I'm going to get a ticket. And if I don't pay the ticket, and if I don't get a tag, I'm going to pay another ticket. So you can say, well, I'm a sovereign being. I have the right to do this. Well, okay. Argue with them if you want to. Pay the price, pay the fines, and you know, but you're a sovereign being. Or you can understand you're still a sovereign being, but pay the damn fine. You know, if that's where you want, if this is where I want to live, I got to pay my county taxes. Bitch. Okay, there goes $400 and some odd out the window. But it's my rent for the year is how I began to look at it. I got to pay rent to somebody, you know. Might as well be Colquitt County. Might as, you know, if I lived anywhere else, there would be a tax. Now, down in Florida, there are places where they don't have, certain spots don't have property tax. And I think the state of Georgia should revisit that for elderly and those of us on low income. But, you know, we'll see. But the state needs revenue. Now, I've been to other states. I've driven to Alabama, Mississippi, a lot of different places. I've been, you know, over to Seattle and back on, you know, so I've been literally around the country. I have not been up in the Northeast like I'd like to, but I have been up into the edges of West Virginia and North and South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, a lot in Tennessee, and Ohio, where where I was born. So I've seen these areas, I've seen the roads, and people who visit me from other states go, "Oh my God, your roads in Georgia, everywhere we drive, even the county roads, they're like great." And I go, "Yeah, ain't it?" When I go to another state, I bitch and complain about the roads. So my county tax, my state tax, the tax, at least you can see what the state is doing with the money. We've got some of the best roads in the United States. I just believe it, you know. And they're always working on them. They're always resurfacing them. They're always maintaining them. And if it means my taxes are a little more, we have nice, wide, safe highways in Georgia. And some of them that they put in over on the western edge, you know, Highway 27 is 4-lane. And it's beautiful. It's like I-75, but on, you know, just off the Alabama line, you know, going north up into Columbus. Anyway. So I can justify paying a tax when I see the results. So, okay. But anywhere we live, we got to pay. And we can move. We can change directions. I could look for another state. I could go something else. But at some point, I'm still going to have to pay the piper. You know, you're not going to be able to live just free unless you're up in the wilderness of Alaska. And I'm just too old to do that now. But anyway, so accept that part. But only involve yourself in what you feel is absolutely necessary to get by. So that keeps you out of the red tape. You know what I'm saying? So the same is true with the chaos. Keep an eye on the news, watch what they're saying, and there's going to be some crazy shit come up. Everybody agrees on that one. To the level of it, I think it has to do with our response. So if they bring us out something that's really crazy and AI is watching us, hi, Bob, we love you. If AI is watching us out there, they're going to be watching our reactions. How did Hawkeye react to Joe Biden's commercial? You see this? Send that along, Bob, to your cousin. But anyway, that was just plumb rude, right? But to the point, though, if you want a reaction, then here you go. They can't hear it, but it's visual. So there's an AI out there going, "What was that? Was that his middle finger? Did he just shoot us a bird?" Well, I don't know. Did I or not? But anyway, I'm not going to do it again. It was just for effect, right? So now, also something that was mentioned in my updates was like how important it is for us to spend some time in nature and to keep grounded with Mother Earth, with Gaia. And I was like, with all this other space stuff, they were like, the one thing that everybody's agreeing on these higher levels, if you will, is the importance of four-legged critters, for example. They're also saying that, if you don't have a 2 or 3 week supply of stuff in case the stores go down, that you really, really, really ought to do it. Because the turmoil may get really, really, really nasty. And it's too easy for these clowns to shut stuff down, right? So should we be surprised if they pull a bit, a crazy stunt? No, we should be expecting it and go, these people are crazy. They've tried this, they've tried that, and now they're doing this, and now they're doing that. We should expect this. We shouldn't have to, well, should I worry about it? No. You know they're going to try something. Now, are they going to get away with it? There's a difference there. Um, are but if you have your own little supply of whatever it is, and you've got your confidence that, okay, go ahead and do something stupid. I got it. That gives you confidence. That gives you the strength for whatever they might want to throw at us. But we're going to hang on to our little inner tubes, because along with their crap, and they're being affected by this too, mind you, nobody is getting away from this. Everybody, every critter, every animal, everything on this planet is being affected by this. Now, so to what degree, we'll see. But after the collapse of the wave, which is nothing more than a crash, there's no beach for the wave to hit and stop. But after a while, a wave can go so long that it will collapse due to the fact that it has gone so long and the energy anyway. So, but imagine, so there's going to be this little slap of energy, that's already here, that's going to give us even another kick. Now, is it going to put us into a higher dimension? I ain't going to go there. Is it going to put us on another timeline? What everybody seems to be in accordance with on this is that the fragmentation of the timelines are not going to be, they won't be able to mess with them anymore. So if you want to say it's a convergence, sort of. It's more like they're going to become stable versus, converging. However, you could also say that there's all these crazy things that are going to merge together to become more harmonious. So, but it's more that the timelines are going to stabilize. So the bad guys ain't going to be able to muck with it. Okay. And CERN's not going to work. And if they do flip the switch, they might find whoever's in the building and nearby might actually just implode and just be a big hole in the ground. And Mother Earth will take care of that too. And God knows where them folks are going to end up. But, but the idea though, that they're going to blow up the planet, there are too many entities that are saying, oh, no, you ain't. So I'm not worried about that anymore, but they can still do quakes and fires and hurricanes. So they can still play with the weather and stuff. So just, yep, that's still on the table, but after this thing, those types of things are also supposed to not necessarily go away, but, in my lifetime, a Cat 2 storm was like a lot. In fact, hurricanes used to be hurricanes at 62 miles an hour. Now it's 70. So they've upgraded because the storms have gotten worse over the years. Same thing with the seismic, with the, what used to be a 1 is now like 0. So, there's a magnitude of 10 in there that they just dropped out. Well, a 1 now is 10 times stronger than what it used to be to register as a 1 on the Richter scale, that they will now acknowledge. This was done about 20 years ago. And they did the same thing with hurricanes and the speed. So now it's 70 miles an hour. So, it has to be 7 miles more per hour. We never had storms that were in the 150, 60 mile an hour rate. Never. I mean, I grew up in Florida. We had hurricanes all the time. So it's like people say, well, we have never had this. That's true. This season we're into Delta and Gamma and Theta and Beta and Goofy and Donald and, and Minnie Mouse, for naming hurricanes. So, and we're not done with the season. We got another, the season doesn't end until the end of November. So, it ain't over yet. One of the worst hurricanes that came through here was Hurricane Kate back in the mid 80s, about 86, I think. And it knocked out Thomasville and Tallahassee big time. It took us out. So, and that was, 2 days before Thanksgiving that year. So just saying. So, but anyway, so there are lots of things that are natural events. And can they intensify them? Yes. We're also going into a new sunspot era thing. So we got Earth wobble, other things going a little nuts. We got, energy waves, not just from the center, but from other areas coming in and hitting us. We've got Mother Earth reverberating in different ways. The Schumann was up the other day, I guess about 1 day ago now. And it was off the charts, but not too bad for a few hours. So, but what has been interesting me is the background frequencies that aren't spiking, but it shows up as green on the chart. And so there's this green background, and then it gets clear, and then there's this green background. So what I'm more interested is not the spikes, but it's the constant reverberation of frequency, all the way across the board, pretty much down the graph, right? That's like humming in the background. Somebody asked in the chat on Milky Way, they feel the earth vibrating. Well, it could be a lot of different things. There are a lot of underground things still going on. But in particular areas, there are old ancient fault lines, and Mother Earth is moving. Also, I've noticed that for some reason, the cars and trucks going by up on the road, which is a pretty good ways away, 100 yards, it's a football length right up the hill, that I can hear it and feel it in the ground. It seems like more lately. It's almost like the earth is being more susceptible from just like big trucks driving down the road, the frequencies, vibrations. Okay. So with that said, there's a lot of stuff going on. And for me, a lot of confirmation of what I've been telling you. There's other factions, other groups who are on our side who are saying, yep. This is the information we all seem to be getting. And I'm okay, I'm good, So don't be scared, be proud, be brave, be who you are. That's more the message. They just kept hammering that, in several of these videos. And, and keep joy in your life. If you're sad and mad and distressed all the time, that's just hard on your heart and your system and your soul, and it darkens you. And so, so in that respect, doing shadow work or going into the darkness could mean that you got to face your own demons. But if you know that they may be in there lurking, then just go in there and deal with them. Just go in there and go, look, I see you, you're a demon that I created, and therefore I can uncreate you. I've had this guilt problem about the Catholic Church and priest for years. I had to go in and do that hard shadow work and say, nah, we ain't going there no more. I'm not going to allow them to have any more of my energy. I'm not going to feel guilty anymore or shameful. I'm going to quit blaming them, although they did, but I'm going to quit blaming them, quit blaming I'm done with it. And boy, did I feel better afterwards. But you got to go in there and clean the house. And I had to understand that I was mad at myself for feeling guilty. And I was guilty for something that was not, I was sort of out of control with. I trusted these people. You know what I'm saying? And to a point, for those of you in here that might have been on Milky Way, it was discussed about Buddha. The Buddha or Christ energy or Christos, or it's the reincarnation of an entity, okay, that works towards pureness, light, Jesus. And there were several Buddhas. There wasn't just one. Many things about Confucius and some other Eastern, some of the Hindu that I'm not quite as familiar with, the Sanskrit and things like that. There are things that go back thousands and thousands of years that people are becoming aware of again. So they never left. But in that, though, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Sister Helene at Tampa Catholic, where I graduated in 1970, told me in 1970 not to become a priest, but to study Buddhism because Jesus went east when he disappeared. And it's a secret that the Catholic Church does not want to come out. And she told me in 1970, okay? So that started my spiritual journey away from the Catholic Church. And it was a Dominican nun who gave that to me, okay? So the Vatican's hiding a lot of stuff. So when people say, well, no, was Jesus a reincarnation of a Buddha entity? Quite possibly. But it's the idea that there were holy people within tribes and communities, like in shamans or something, in different countries and different places. But because they didn't keep records like the Vatican and all, and these other places, so First Nations people have, crow and raven and all these animal spirits, but there were shamans who helped to interpret those things, who had the Buddha type energy with them, but we don't know their names. So the answer to, were there more than one? Oh yeah. And not just in this religion and not just over here, and the Hopi and many of the Indian nations all believe in the sky gods, but they also know that the sky gods, the ET, isn't creator. They know the difference. They talk about it. They say the sky beings are going to come back, and they know, they understand who the creator is. Well, wait a minute. So they already know that the sky beings are not gods, that they're sky beings, okay, and that they've been here before. So we have to say, well, wait a minute, they didn't write it down. Well, yeah, they did in places, and so. Also, it's been told in their stories and it's told in their traditions. Why did the Spanish and the English and the French want to destroy all native cultures? Because they had a connection to the real creator, in their opinion. And so theirs was a construct and always has been. So anytime they find native peoples in the jungle, what do? Oh, we're going to take them T-shirts. The women are bare-breasted. They think it's normal. So it's only the people who look at them people, those people are naked. To you, to them, it's a la natural. Well, but they got little kids and they're, but they're not perverted. It's your perverted mind that makes them seem perverted to you because they don't conform to your whatever way of thinking it is, your Christian way or even Jewish or whatever. Oh, because God said to clothe yourself down to your toes. Okay, so to be naked is that in the eyes of God. Hang on, whoa. These people have been naked a lot longer than you folks have had clothes. Just saying. But did God smite them for being naked? No, not obviously. Or to not do the way you know. But so it was their opinion that drove all these people crazy and so forth. But anyway, so I'm gonna pull a couple of cards. I've seen winged giants flying on the face of the moon. Gina Marie Cobo Hill filmed them. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff going on. Sarah Horton, hi, how are you? Robert V. I remember that I was farming the cows and calves during full moon or a storm. Nudity is okay in my home. Yep. There are a lot of folks that, people just, I said this one time, and growing up, we're a Catholic family. But, in Tampa back in the day, a lot of people did not have air conditioners. Central heat and air was really for the ritzy. And, a window unit was like, okay. So in the summertime, we had a fan and the window and the door was open with the screen door. And we were all sitting around on our underwear. Mom had a bra and her panties on. Dad was in his underwear. And we didn't think twice about it because it was hot, you know? And we're fanning herself, watching TV at night, never thought anything about it. I've talked with my brother and sister, and Pops never did anything untoward or anything like that. There was no kind of sexual something. It was just hot, and we were just sitting around and, almost naked. But today, people would go, "Oh, that's unacceptable behavior." Okay, we didn't think it was perverted, but somebody else looking in would. I've known some people who were nudist, and they were criticized by their friends because they took their children with them to the nudist colony for the weekend, and they're like, "You did what?" And I go, "Yeah, we played volleyball, we swam. You took your children to the nudist colony?" Yeah, because we don't see anything wrong with it. And I've been to nudist colonies, and I myself down here by myself, if I run around, with nothing on, somebody will pull up. But the idea, though, that it's unnatural, or that it's, that somehow it's bad or whatever. Well, anyway. But yeah, Delaney, I see. Somebody new, System Buster. How you doing? I think full blue moon on 331 is a catalyst for something extraordinary. Yes, and listen, there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be actively working to bust up the bad guys' use of that blue moon. Okay? And the date. And certain starry-eyed positions of things. Deborah Truax, sorry. Trina, how are you? I do too, Teresa, but I feel that the earth, she is moving a little. She's moving a lot, Trina, but yeah. But so at the same time, though, so here's one of the things that was a warning to me and to us, to you, in that if we start worrying about what they're going to do on the 31st, we're playing into their game. Okay. Well, they're going to be doing, oh, calm down. But they're going to be, calm down. We know they're going to try something. What we are not concerned with that. What we should be concerned at is, how can I put, regardless of what they do, how can I take my energy, maybe our collective energies, if we want to do Maverick suggested doing another meditation. So maybe on the 31st, we all get together and we just, don't talk about the bad guys. We just talk about positive things, and we push the positive. So if there is any negative out there, we're going to just flood it with light. So anywhere that there is darkness that they're trying to creep in, we're going to shed light. And it's going to be that simple. Well, what are they doing? Doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Because whatever it is going to be on the dark side. So that's all we have. That's all we need to know. And we cannot allow ourselves into the chaos ahead of time, because they're taking our energy and they're going to build up to this day, to build up to this time. Well, they're going to do that. Calm down. Do we already know about this? All right. It's sort of like when the natives discuss the entity that will not be named. And you go, well, what is it? It will not be named. And shut up. But what if there's an energy out there? They don't be named. Well, how am I going to shut up? It's out there. You don't want to see it. You may, but it's not to be named. But I still want to know more about it. Oh, there you go. See, so you're going to actually create it. So the warnings from several different places are that we don't give them any energy. So starting right now, we know whatever it is, we know it ain't for the good side. So let's start thinking positive now. Whatever it is, going to be positive. Whatever it is, going to shed light. Whoever it is, or combinations, don't care. We're going to shed light, because that is the important thing. If we focus on what they're doing and how they're going to do it, and these people are going to be using children and this, let's just not even go there. Because if we think it, if we suspect it, then it can help them to manifest what they want. And in the meantime, scare the shit out of the rest of us, right? Keep us in fear. And we just can't do that. We cannot operate if we're going to all be in fear of that. So put your good mask on and put your good energy on and that kind of thing, and understand that, the positive for the 31st starts, it started the other day actually, but it starts now. And we go, yeah, 31st, yeah, they're going to try something, and stay in that light, not that we think that what they're doing is light at all, but I hope you get my drift on this. Anyway, I hope you get my drift in that. So let's stay in the positive starting now. And for the next, however many days, 14 days, 13 days, something like that. Today's the 19th. Okay. So I'm gonna shuffle the cards here, and I don't want to do it now because I'm in this other mood. Okay, I'm gonna have it's been suggested that I have a separate card reading night, and I agree, but this ain't it. Okay, this ain't it. System, positive high vibes. Yep. Thank you, system. Card reading. Yep. Teresa, did that card help you out that I got you the other day? I need signs from nature. Need? Yeah. Need to read. Let me put on my glasses here. Scratch. Hi, Scratch. David Castle. We get through this. We will get through this, Sarah. That's the thing. We will get through this. That was one of the positive stuff. It's that only though, now, I say this with a caveat. A tornado could hit and wipe out my house. Knock on wood. A tornado's been over my house twice already. So, but to the point though, anything could happen to me, my family, or whatever, or this area. Hey, Isby. And that those are things that just might happen. Well, he died, and this thing went through, and the thing, and he didn't make it. There are circumstances that are each of our own individual paths, and stuff's going to happen. But we can't necessarily say that that's what killed us. Like, we heard all these people, there were 200,000 people in the United States that died of COVID, says Biden. Well, of those 200,000, people already had extenuating circumstances. And now they got this this young mother came in with COVID, and I couldn't tell her whether she was going to live or die, and how all this stuff. And Joe Biden, he's the one for us. And I'm going, holy shit. Fear, fear, fear. Anyway, stay out of the fear. She could have listen, a couple of years ago, my nephew, my sister's youngest son, youngest son, Anthony, he got sick on a Thursday, had the sniffles. Now, there no mask or nothing, down in Tampa, Zephyr Hills area, Dade City down there. And he came home on a Friday, was sick, had the flu, really went downhill on Saturday. They put him in the hospital Saturday night or Sunday, and he was dead by Tuesday. He was in his 20s, a vibrant young man. He was healthy. He had quit doing a lot of drugs. He had cleaned himself out. He had spent time in jail and now had a job and a kid and a wife and a thing and a life. And whatever this was, it was this really rare 1 in 10,000 virus things. And before they could catch it, he was dead. 5 days. no corona, no this or that. They couldn't trace it to any particular thing. Nobody else got sick, but he was dead and still is. So this idea that, you know, a mask and this and that, and it's the coronavirus, and you just got to say, hang on there, guys. You know, I'm shuffling cards. You just got to say, there's stuff out there that might take us. But this idea that there are 300 million of us, plus, not counting illegals and all, in the United States. And you say, well, 200,000, but what is the percentage of the population? So it's like, just saying. Now, I'm shuffling like a real deck of cards, you know. The old flippy thing. I'm trying my best to direct the energy weapons. Yes, absolutely. But here's the thing: those directed energy weapons are not necessarily, they're the bad guys, but not necessarily earthbound. You gotta remember that. I have seen over my head, I've talked about this before, and I wish I had pictures of one spaceship shooting down another with a laser beam. Okay, I've seen it. So there's my proof, you know, but and I wish I could show it to you, because I keep thinking about it, going, holy crap, I really witnessed that and watched them disappear, you know, poof out of the sky. And so it's like, holy crap. So when people say, well, that stuff doesn't really exist, I go, maybe to you it doesn't, but to me it does. Now, so I'm going to pull 3 cards. Now, EM, how about on Earth? What is, we need to create a better reality, and know we can as a tribe. Yes, and we can do it personally too, but yes. And here's one of the things that was stressed on many different levels from different, there was a movie I was watching, and they had this little thing, and it's like, before this pandemic, you are never alone. I am always with you. And the thing is, Michelle and Teresa and Scratch and Project Skyfalls and some of you folk, Chloe out there, you know, and Candy Apple and you know, the whole idea that we are all connected. So, you know, there are, before I used to feel alone all the time, and now I'm not alone, because I have reached a certain other level of thinking, and I just realized I'm not alone. I may be by myself and it's just me and Duggar here in the house, but I'm not alone. So, Mossy Man, but I have learned to have favor in this mess. Yep. I've experienced what our collective thoughts and intentions can do in Mac Vision remote viewing. Okay, I missed some other things. I left instead of complain. Yes, laughter was also the thing. Said if somebody's in a bad mood, just get them to smile, to help them stay out of the chaos. And we've talked about that too. So these are all positive things. So a couple of you get together and have a particular thought. Here's a card that wants to come out. So I'm going through the cards, and this particular one on this hand, see me moving that one? That just feels, yep. So I'm not going to flip it over or look at it. So, but there's this other one here though, that my fingers are on. And, so what I'm doing is I'm flipping through the cards, right? And I'm feeling with my thumb and my fingers underneath. And so there'll just be this little, like a little tingle or a little warm spot or something. And they'll go, this one, you know, but sometimes there's 2 or 3 cards like right next to each other. And it's kind of hard to tell. So that's why sometimes I'll pull 3 cards out. Now see this one that I'm holding underneath my fingers on this one right here. I'm holding these other cards, but my fingers want this card here. So that's this is my second card. Okay. Now There doesn't seem to be anything. I put these other cards down because there doesn't seem to be anything in there. So I got the rest of the deck here, and there are two or three or four things going on in the rest of this deck. So I'm holding them just below camera level. Yes, Mossy Man, and yes, David Castle. And one of the things that I've tried to do in previous videos is look at the absurdity of it and laugh and just go, that's so crazy. I have to laugh. And so the more chaotic it is, the more we should giggle and go, that shit's crazy. And laugh about it. Because in any other world, it's, oh my God, we're all going to die. And don't want to go there again. Okay, so these two cards here, these last two cards here, this one underneath this hand and this one here. So the one on my right hand seems to be a little screaming a little louder, but this one here seems to be. So I got them laid out in front of me. 1, 2, 3, 4. I was only going to pull 3, but that other one seemed to really want to come. And there's another card in the top of this deck that really wants to be shown, but I'm only going to stick with these right now for the moment. Okay, so now I've got the card, and I'm not going to cheat and look at it. I got the card, and so I don't know because they're mixed up within the deck. I turn them part of the deck upside down on purpose when I shuffle. Hey, Truth and Me, how are you? But now when I'm holding the card, there are times, of course, I always read the contrary. But so I feel the card and say, okay, should I flip it, or should I turn it up, or should I flip it up? So this one's dog, number 14. How about that? Duggar. Shh, he's napping. Now let me find my book. Dog, number 14. I have not pulled the dog card ever. I can vouch for that. I've never pulled the dog card ever, with you folks or on my own. Next card. Ooh. Lizard's back. Lizard was a little while back, but we pulled that card. Next card up. Ant. We have discussed ant before. And last card in the one. Guess what? Grouse, upside down. Grouse is the one I pulled last night, I think, or the other night or whatever. Grouse upside down. So remember I said, I was thinking turkey and it was actually the grouse. Here it is again. Yeah, it's a group reading, but a lot of times it will hit home for those of you out there. So, but I pulled the grouse card the other night, and I've been shuffling. I did not want any card to be, ant was a couple of weeks ago, I think we pulled the ant. Lizard, it's been a little while, but I think I pulled the lizard card. Dog, nope, that's the first time. So let's start with dog. Number 14 is its number in the book for whatever that may mean. I have not read dog at all. I've read coyote, I've read wolf, but I've not read dog. So for all those four-leggeds out there, okay, hang on, folks, before I read the interpretation. Bye, Trina. If you're gone, love you all. Must sleep, work in the morning. Be safe. We love you, Trina. Thank you for all that you do, and keep up the good work. I got to change glasses. Okay, and coffee for Bob. We love you, and all you who are participating. Aurora Rain. Hi, how are you? Ooh, here's one. Loyalty. Dog. Dog, you are so noble until the bitter end. Your medicine is the teaching of true and loyal friends. All of the Southwest and Plain Indian tribes had dogs. These noble animals would often give them warning signals of approaching danger. They helped in the hunt and were a great source of warmth on long winter nights. And folks up in Alaska, the Huskies and those, man, Anyway, since the canine tribe has many breeds, early Indian dogs were usually half wild. This wilderness, however, never divested the owners of their dogs' innate loyalty. Dog has been considered the servant of humanity throughout history. If a person carries dog medicine, he or she is usually serving others or humanity in the same way. Here you will find the charity worker, the philanthropist, the nurse, the counselor, the minister, and the soldier, and the shamans in training. Dog was the servant soldier that guarded the tribe's lodges from surprise attacks. Dog is the medicine that embodies the loving gentleness of best friend in italics and the half wild protector energy of territorial imperative. Like Anubis, the jackal dog protector of Egypt, dog is the guardian. Throughout history, dog has been the guardian of hell as well as of ancient secrets, hidden treasures, and babies. While mothers were cooking or in the fields, dog honors its gifts and is loyal to the trust placed in its care. In examining dog medicine, you might find that you have found personal memories of owning and loving dog as a pet. The message that dogs are trying to give you is that you must delve deeply into your sense of service to others. Canines are generally service-oriented animals and are devoted to their owners with a sense of loyalty that supersedes how they are treated. If dog has been yelled at or paddled, it still returns love to the person who was the source of its bad treatment. This does not come from stupidity, but rather from a deep and compassionate understanding of human shortcomings. It is as if the tolerant spirit dwells in the heart of every canine that asks only to be of service. You can also see dogs that have had the loyalty beaten out of them. They cower and cry at the slightest look of disapproval, but this is not their normal nature. Some varieties of dogs have been trained against their natures to be brutal and vicious. Out of a sense of service, these breeds have adopted the attack-oriented desires of their owners. It's a reflection of the owners, right? They carry an altered genetic memory of what service means if they are not approved of by their masters. In other words, to kill something or, skid him, get him there. Anyway, dog medicine asks you to look at how readily your sense of loyalty is countermanded by your need for approval. If you have pulled the dog card, there are several questions you need to consider depending on the situation about which you are asking. 1, have I recently forgotten that I owe my allegiance to my personal truth in life? 2, is it possible that gossip or the opinions of others have jaded my loyalty to a certain friend or group? Number 3, have I denied or ignored someone who is trying to be my loyal friend? Number 4, have I been loyal and true to my goals? Now that's interesting. So dog medicine. Now the contrary. Now he's sitting straight up, but I turned it that way because I wasn't sure. In the contrary position, dog may be telling you that you have become critical or mean due to the company you are keeping. Now, we can become mean by some of the things that we read and hear on the news, and so it's not just due to the company we're keeping, but sometimes to the company we keep in, like watching the news or but anyway, the reversal of this medicine could also imply that it is time to stop cowering in fear. Now, this hits home because we can't fear what's coming or what is happening. To stop cowering with fear and time to begin to tackle the adversities of your confidence. How many times have I talked about confidence, right? The key is to realize that these are not external enemies, but thought forms in your own mind which tell you that you are not worthy of loyalty. It's in your head, either to yourself or to others. Remember that we are all angel beings, okay? You may want to examine the patterns of disloyalty in your life. Do you, for example, pass on gossip or do not speak up when someone else is rumor mongering? Do you make jokes that belittle others? Do you refuse, Tui, easy for you to say, do you refuse to return kindness? These are characteristics of fear, and particularly of a fear that is common to the human two-legged family, the fear of not belonging or of not being approved of. Reclaim your power of loyalty to self and to self-truths. Become like dog. Be your own best friend. Wow, I have never read the dog card. That's very interesting. In the contrary position, dog may be telling you that you have become critical or mean due to the company you are keeping. Now, they want me to read that over again because the reversal of this medicine could also imply that it is time to stop cowering with fear and time to begin to tackle the adversities of your confidence. What has the messages that have been coming through? We got some stuff, kids. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be going through some things, but don't be confident, be self-aware, be in truth, holy crap. So did the dog card mean anything in our discussion? I think it did. So now, next, lizard, number 36. I honestly can't remember what lizard was. Only that I'm pretty sure we read something about it. Ah, lizard, dreaming. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Now I sort of remember. Lizard, dreaming, number 36, which is a 9. Lizard, will you dream with me? Travel across the stars, beyond the place of time and space. There live visions from afar. So I was talking earlier about to go into the darkness. You go into the darkness not necessarily to seek dark beings or bad things, but in the darkness are the answers. So Lizard sat lolling in the shade of a big rock, shading himself from the desert sun. Snake crawled by, looking for some shadow to coil up in and rest. Snake watched Lizard for a while as Lizard's eyeballs went side to side behind his enormous closed lids. Snake hissed to get Lizard's attention. Slowly, Lizard's dreaming eyes opened up and he saw Snake. Snake, you scared me. What do you want? The lizard cried. Snake spit his answer from his forked tongue. Lizard, you're always getting the best shadow spots in the heat of the day. This is the only big rock for miles. Why don't you share your shade with me? Lizard thought for a moment, then agreed. Snake, you can share my shade spot, but you have to go to the other side of the rock, and you must promise not to interrupt me. Snake was getting annoyed. He hissed, How could I bother you, Lizard? All you are doing is sleeping. Lizard smiled knowingly. Oh, Snake, you are such a silly serpent. I'm not sleeping. I am dreaming. Snake wanted to know what the difference was. So Lizard explained, Dreaming is going into the future. Snake, I go to where future lives. You see, that is why I know you won't eat me today. I dreamed you, and I know you were full of a mouse. Snake was taken aback. Why, Lizard, you're exactly right. I wondered why you said you would share your rock. Lizard laughed to himself. Snake, he said, you are looking for shade, and I'm looking for shadow. Shadow is where the dreams live. Lizard medicine is the shadow side of reality, where your dreams are reviewed before you decide to manifest them physically. I'm going to read that sentence again. Lizard medicine is the shadow side of reality, where your dreams are reviewed before you decide to manifest them physically. Lizard could have created getting eaten by the snake if he had so desired. Lizard is the medicine of dreamers, whether dreamers smoke you or dream you. Dreamers can always help you see the shadow. This shadow can be your fears, your hopes, or the very thing you are resisting. But it is always following you around like an obedient dog. Interesting, we just read about dog. So a fear can be your, quote, best friend, ha 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 ha, is somebody, Teresa. Yes, into the future new reality. Now, remind me of that. Our future new reality is that if we think it's going to be an outcome in a particular way, now's not the time to like projecting what tomorrow's going to be because there's too much confusion. You may put forth a goal, well, I would like to do this in the future, and kind of leave it there because, the next 6 months are going to be really weird. Okay, if Blizzard dreamed of space in your cards today, it may be time to look and see what is following along behind you. Is it your fears, your future trying to catch up to you? Or is it the part of you that wants to ignore your weaknesses and your humaneness or your humanness? Or is it the part of you that wants to ignore your weaknesses or your humanness? Lizard may be telling you to pay attention to your dreams and their symbols. Be sure to pay attention to each individual symbol or reoccurring pattern. If you do not remember your dreams, or you could try by setting a music alarm for 2 a.m. or something, or you could try drinking a lot of water before bedtime and allow your bladder to wake you up. That's what the natives used to do. Drink a lot of water and they'd wake up before the hunt or before the war. Dreams are very important. Pay attention to them. Okay, so the contrary. Now, I think it was the right side up, but I always read the contrary anyway. If Lizard has turned up in the contrary position, you may be having a nightmare. This is a sign of inner conflict. Look to the nightmare for a clue to the nature of this conflict. What are the feelings your nightmare causes? Breathe through those feelings and let the sensations flow out of your body, sort of like grounding. See the truth in your nightmare, what your nightmare is suggesting. It could be the simple message that you are confronting your fears and that therefore do not need to experience nightmarish events in your day-to-day life. Another message of Lizard reversed is that you may need more sleep or dream time. It could also imply that you have a lack of dreams for your future. Interesting. Imagination is the door to all new ideas and creations. I'm going to read that again. Imagination is the door to all ideas and creation. As you examine the dreaming process, you will find that the subconscious is processing all of the recorded messages it holds concerning the events you experience during the day. And I have discussed this. If you think your subconscious don't know what's going on, it's looking at everything and that you're not paying attention to, and it's recording it all. So, you think, well, my subconscious, listen here, when your eyes are closed and you think your brain is still recording stuff. So Pay attention to that. It took me a while to get that, but it's very important because if the subconscious brings something to you, then it's happened or it's giving you a warning or a sign or something. Pay attention, right? These messages can be suppressed feelings bringing inner conflict, or they can be new ideas or goals, other dimensions of awareness, which we are getting to, future events, warning signals, or desires and hopes. In one sense, contrary lizard is insisting that you look to your imagination for new experience. This is necessary when life becomes dull or full of boredom. On the other hand, contrary lizard may also apply to those who dream too much, refusing to use the dreams and tools to manifest that same vision in their lives. All levels of awareness are accessible through dreams. Remember, life is not always as it seems. Are you the dreamer or are you the dreamed? Interesting proposition there, eh? So yeah, so it even mentions a dog with the lizard and sort of vice versa. But anyway, are your troubles following you around like a puppy dog? That's an interesting point of view now. Okay, ant is the next one up. It's number 32. And I think we've discussed ant before. Patience. Oh my God. Are these not okay? So dog was loyalty. Lizard is oops. So dog is loyalty, lizard is dreaming, the ant is patience. Okay? So we've got loyalty, dreaming, and understanding, and then now patience. Ant, number 32. Oh, tiny ant, your patience grows like the sands of time. Can I learn to be like you, or is it too sublime? Hey, Al, right when you think the planet stops turning, there's David Null to kickstart the world back to save the day. Oh, I love you folks, I do. Thank you, Al, and hope you're being safe out there. Scratch says, I'm just unconscious when I sleep. Sometimes that is for me too, but I think sometimes it's because I'm off doing something they don't want me to remember. But that's another topic for another discussion. Ant, patience. Ant can carry a leaf over hundreds of miles just to get it back to the anthill. Ants in Africa will strip a forest bare when food is scarce, the army ant. If it takes them a year, ants' medicine is the strategy of patience. And they're still trying to get in my house, too. Ant is the builder, like beaver, is aggressive, like badger, has stamina, like elk, scrutiny, like mouse, and giveaway, like turkey. We had turkey the other day. Ant people are active, community-minded folks who see the greater future needs of their own. Ant people are planners like squirrel, and they are content to see their dreams being built a little at a time. In today's society, that is a rare quality. Everybody's impatient. In the desert, one type of ant will burrow a conical hole with its apex at the bottom. Now, actually, this is not true. Those are ant eaters. Patience does have its rewards. And people have a knowing about the sweet victory at the end of the line. There is never a concern about going without if they are too late for the opening of a sale. If what they want is sold out, they are sure that something equal or better is available. If you have ant medicine, you eat slowly and deliberately and are content in knowing that what is yours will come to you. This knowing is good medicine. It shows a trust in the universe to provide. If the ant meandered into your spread today, it is time to show a little trust, there's that word again, and patience in some life situation. You may have forgotten that you will always receive that which you need at the time you will need it most. I'm going to read that again. You may have forgotten that you will always receive that which you need at the time you need it most. If it is not on the horizon or just around the next anthill, you may need to use some strategy. How can you put to use your power of creation until it arrives, whatever it means to you at that time? Ant is working for the good of the whole. Are you? If you are, be assured that the whole wants the same goodness for you. Soul tribe, we all want the same thing, and that it will be provided. What sucks, Al? I just looked up. Contrary side of ant. Now, I think came right side up. It says, watch out, here comes the sting. If you are in a hurry, you may fall prey to those who are not working for the good of the whole of humanity. That's a warning. And I think there are some of us, not necessarily you folks, but there's some of us folks out there who are impatient. They want this thing to be over and they want this. Yeah, but sometimes good things come to those who wait. And if you try to push it, ant could sting you. And ant bites hurt, especially these fire ants down here. Those individuals who make greed a way of life prey on the fear and urgency of those who have forgotten natural and tribal law. If it's easy money, if this warning applies to you, become aware of users and con artists. Now, the politicians are trying to do that, so con artists, absolutely. If the contrary position, and also teaches you to trust natural law. If you do, harmony always follows. Your silly impatience will bring Coyote to aid you in sabotaging your plans for the future. We had Coyote the other night. If you allow your panic to outweigh your rational sensibilities. So we got to stay sensible in this. So, does this mean anything to any of us? The key here is to honor the will of Great Spirit so that the mountains are not made out of anthills. Interesting. Now here's grouse upside down again. You love them dogs? Georgia dogs or just dogs? Upside down grouse, okay? 34. Now here's an interesting thing. Now I shuffled the bejeebers out of these things. I've got 36, 32, and 34 in a row. In other words, that's how I drew them. And 14 was the odd man out. But, and I shuffle these things all the time and don't look at them. I don't want to look at them and see where they are, So, but anyway, so here's the fourth card that seemed to want to get out. And it sort of backs up because I pulled grouse the other day. So anytime I see a card come up 2 or 3 times in a row, especially after I shuffled them like I did, sacred spiral. Ooh, a reminder. I was thinking about this earlier, and it's grouse. So sacred spiral. Grouse of the sacred spiral, leading us on to reach the everlasting heights where we can live as one. Grouse once flocked in abundance throughout North America, but now even on the plains where these birds were so plentiful, there is an absence of them. Many Plains Indian tribes dance the grouse dance to honor these birds. I discussed the bird dance the other night. The movement of the dance follows a spiral, which is the ancient symbol of birth and rebirth, the ribbed tunnel of eternal return. Eternal return, not one way. The sacred spiral is also one of the oldest known symbols for personal power. When you think of grouse medicine, visualize a whirlpool or even a tornado, for the sacred spiral will take you to the center. The spiral is a metaphor for personal vision and enlightenment. Many initiatives on Vision Quest paint spirals on their bodies and believe that the great mystery will favor them with visions of power and purpose because of this symbol. The whirling dervishes of certain Sufi orders are masters of the spiral dance and can transcend to higher states of awareness through the repetition of this sacred movement. And I agree with that. It is said that dervishes can travel to the center of the spiral and return with any magical power they choose. In the dervish state, one enters the great silence and has direct communication with the creator. By spinning clockwise or counterclockwise, the dervish draws or repulses specific energies. Sufi dancing is a system which connects one with the divine source through tribal treatment of motion. If you have grouse medicine in your cards, undertake a meditation on the various qualities of movement within your world. Meditate on the movement. Begin by visualizing the sun as one member of a huge group of stars swirling in the massive pinwheel shape of the Milky Way. Milky Way, hey, there you go. Then draw yourself out of this pinwheel of light and into the spiraling of your own DNA's double helix. And it was supposed to be a triple helix, by the way. An arrangement similar to a rope ladder coiled like a corkscrew. Analyze the way you move through your world. How do you picture yourself in the act of locomotion? What kind of reaction do you create with the energy you send into the universe? So if you send out a negative thought, does that come back and smack you? So what kind of reaction do you create? Reaction now. We say, well, I'm going to put this out to the universe. Okay, but what's the reaction? Have you thought about what the consequences of what you're going to put out there? Well, I'm going to put it out there because, yeah, but, and is there a reaction? A lot of people don't think about what their reaction might be. They just put it out there. You know what I mean? So hang on, I'm going to put it out there, but maybe I should choose my words carefully so that it will actually attain the desired effect that I want. You have to think about it. Not long, but, just reconsider. What words would you use to describe the way you move through both the material and the spiritual world? In the final analysis, is your movement compatible with your greatest desires and goals? So, you may be, I don't know, you may be working as a sous chef or something, but you want to become a plumber, and it's only when the stink's up in the kitchen that you get to use that talent. But anyway, so you have to look at what you're doing in your life, physical and spiritual, and see if you're actually going where you want to, your greatest desires and goals. Many spiritual disciplines ask that you cease all external movement in order to recognize the inner life. Grouse medicine, however, is an invitation to dance. Grouse celebrates the divine source through its sacred spiral dance and offers this dance to you as a gift. You can spend a lifetime learning Grouse's lesson on how to harmonize your dance with Mother Earth and her cycles, and how to offer the dancer as a creation, and how to offer the dance as a creation of selfless beauty. So you go out and dance around in the circle, and you do it freely and openly, and that's an open gift to the universe. Interesting, eh? A selfless beauty. Now, contrary, and it was upside down. Drawing the grouse medicine card in the reverse position signals a dissipation of energy and lack of control and discipline. It is the symbolic, it is symbolic of a lost connection to the source and signifies a clear intent behind an outpouring of energy. You may feel like you are in a tailspin or going down the drain. That is how many of us feel sometimes. Confront the confusion, either in yourself or in others who may be in the picture. Examine the way your energy may be causing friction, sparks, or a convolution of a situation that needs clarification. Work towards harnessing your energy and directing it towards clearly defined goals, such as the nature of the sacred grouse dance. Now, I want to say something about it says it work towards harnessing your energy and directing it towards clearly defined goals. Now, here's something I want to speak about after I finish the rest of this. In using the sacred dance as a tool to right contrary grouse, you may also find that it is a tool to center or ground you. In grounding, you are once again connecting to Mother Earth and balancing out the spinning in your head. If you have become so involved with an idea or problem that you are no longer seeing it clearly, you may feel dizzy or lacking in concentration. This is a sign that you have entered the thought universe and are not connected to the physical reality. You need grounding if this occurs. Dancing or walking will put you back in touch with earth and your body. Grouse may then teach you how to notice the energy flows that put you in harmony and balance with body, mind, and spirit. Grouse may teach you how to notice the energy flows that puts you in harmony and balance with your body, mind, and spirit. Now, I'm going to go back to this other thing for a minute because Spirit's been yakking at me about this, and I'm going to bring it out here. Work towards harnessing your energy and directing it towards clearly defined goals. Okay, now, I'm going to put this out there because there are some folks who have goals and they have not been truthful with themselves. And you say, well, Hawkeye, what do you mean by that? Because their goals are pipe dreams. There's a piece of property up the road from me. Okay, it came for sale. It was like 100 acres, and they only wanted like $200 or $300 an acre for it. Which for 100 acres, that's still a big chunk of. But it's a beautiful piece of property just upriver from me on the other side of Lower Meigs Road. And I was like, I want that piece of property. I could subdivide it. I could invite people out. We could build. There's the river on it. There's high ground, low ground, blah, blah. Oh, my God. And then I realized, wait a minute. That's, I was working. Maybe I could get some people and together and we could go in on this and we could buy this farm. And the more I looked at it, the more it was like, nah, this ain't happening. But I kept thinking, but I really want this. And if I talked to enough people, but the situation wasn't right. So as much as I wanted to do this thing, it just wasn't in the cards. So one of the things you have to be, you can set a goal that for whatever reason, it may not be that, that you're not good enough or whatever, that ain't it. But it might not be the goal that the universe has for you. And you go, yeah, but I want it. But it doesn't mean that the universe wants it. It doesn't necessarily mean that the universe wants you to do it or to have it. So, and you have to be able to be honest with yourself and go, now there are people say, well, never give up. Well, if your car's, if you got your car stuck on the beach and the tide comes in and the car gets taken out with the tide, you can pretty much assume that you're not going to drive it out of the ocean. All right. You can say, well, my intent is to drive my Jeep back up out of the ocean and back onto the sand as it goes glug, glug, glug underneath the waves. So your intentions and your goals are not necessarily what Mama Nature or the universe want for you. And I've had so many, what I would say, shortcomings in life. But here's the thing. It was in the wrong direction. It was a good idea, but it wasn't mine. It wasn't for me. So when you say, I want this goal, I want to manifest this thing, I am a god or a goddess, and I'm going to make this happen. It might be that the universe don't really want it, or that they want you in it. Now, you might find a job along the edges or something. You might contribute to somebody else who's doing something similar in what you're doing. So if you're saying, well, persistence will get it done. Yeah, but if it just ain't right in the universe, it ain't going to happen. and you can fight and you can scrap and you can lose a lot of energy. And it doesn't mean give up, but it does mean let me assess this honestly and truthfully. It's not whether or not I can do it. But when I was thinking about buying this piece of property, nobody had any money. Nobody had, everybody was in disarray. This was wrong and that was wrong. It was a great idea. It was still for sale. It's still a great piece of property, but it wasn't meant for me to organize. That's it. That's all there is to it. And so as much as I wanted to, my circumstances and other people that wanted to be involved with the project, things went south for them. They lost their house. They lost their money. They lost their 401k. Lots of stuff happened. So a dream that would involved a lot of other people and instigated sort of by me, but that it just wasn't feasible. So the property's still up there. If I scratch off $1 million, I'll go buy it. But in the meantime, it's just somebody else's up the river from me, and it's still pretty much the way it was, minus a few pine trees. But we have to look in that dream state with Lizard and go, but I have this dream and it's going to be like this, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. And maybe that dream will come true in 10 years. It may not mean that you can have it now. So you don't give up to the universe, but you ask the universe and you be truthful with yourself. Maybe not right now. Well, it's a great idea, but maybe not right now. Now, maybe, that piece of property is still in my mind. It's still up the river from me. But at some point I may say, well, I'm getting too old. I don't have enough money. It's not for sale now or whatever. And it was a good idea. It really was. It was a great idea. But we just have to table that one, But something else might come up, and there are other things. And so all the energy and everything I put into trying to make that project happen was wasted when I could have been working on a smaller project or a different type of project. But I just thought that one was going to work, and it didn't, So no fault of anybody's. It was just circumstances. So did I give up? I had to. Where am I going to come up with $250,000 or whatever it was for, that piece of property, or to get a loan, but anyway. So what we want to manifest, let's make sure it's a goal that we can attain. Now, to some folks, I've had this long life dream. Okay. Well, if you're going to be like Ant and be patient, and you can take this in steps, what's to say you can't? Now, my long life goal is to have this house and have it paid for, and for me to only have to pay taxes. So I've achieved my dream. I've achieved my long-term goal. Didn't quite turn out the way I thought it was, but basically. So you have to modify sometimes along the way. But are you going to be smart enough to go into that dream world and look at what you have set up as goals and go, I'm not saying give up, but you got to be practical too. Well, despite the adversity, I went ahead and did this. Okay. And I applaud folks who do that. But at the same time, sometimes we can waste so much energy on something that we just have to be practical. We have to be honest with ourselves and not necessarily give up. Take it to a point, and then we say, when I reach this point, if it doesn't look like I can get over this hill, then I'm just going to table this. You don't say give up. I'm going to table this for now, and I'm going to see where this takes me. So rather than get frustrated, we just go, well, a tree fell across the road, and I had to take a detour. Didn't mean it was going to stop you from your destination. You follow me? But a tree fell across the road and I had to take a detour. So, well, I wanted to go this way. Yeah. Well, but you could sit there, you could get your chainsaw out and cut the tree up and still go. There are lots of things, but in the path of life, we have to be, shit, I didn't bring my chainsaw. I'm going to have to take the detour. And if I go down in the ditch, I'm going to get stuck. Okay, so maybe I just better take the detour, be a few minutes late, but I'll be safe. And, so, but then there are those folks who, I got a 4-wheel drive and try to get down through the ditch and they get stuck at the bottom of the ditch. And now they're really stuck because now there's a tree, nobody can get through, and you're stuck in the ditch. And you got to call somebody if you got a phone or reception. You know what I mean? So there are all these different scenarios, but life will throw us curves, and trees and limbs and power lines will fall across the road to try to keep us from our, destination. Remember, we can reach that destination, but maybe not in a straight line. Might have to take a year off. I was doing puppets and stuff there for a while. The librarians found out through somebody that I had been busted, for marijuana, and no one would hire me. I couldn't give away a puppet show. A couple of years went by, things calmed down, and all of a sudden I was doing libraries again. So, and I was doing theater, and people were coming and patting me on the back and saying, "Gee, Dave, what a great job." When a couple of years before, they were all like, "He's a hippie. He smokes weed. He's a dope smoker. We ain't going to trust him." And, and that's a nasty way to have to get around down here in the South. But over the years, just through patience and proving to other folks that, yeah, okay, I smoked weed. Yeah, okay, I got busted, but I'm still a good person. I'm still this person. And, and you had to prove it to folks. And then other people started defending me. Well, he was smoking dope. Listen, he's served his time. He paid his debt. He's been doing a really good job for us. So cut him some slack. Oh, and I mean, even judges down here were like, David, you really got a shitty deal there. But, the law's the law, okay. So it's amazing where you can get respect by keeping your self-respect. Because regardless of what they did to me and how they busted me, whatever, I was still the same person. I still helped people. I still did this. I still did that. And people after a while, oh, well, you got busted. That was a shit thing. You're still a nice guy. We'll let you back in the group. And that's basically what was actually said to me. So, my friends, it's been 2.5 hours again. But I hope that just give me a sort of a high five. Did the cards mean anything to any of you? Just yes or no. You don't have to go into an explanation. Did the cards seem to fit tonight? And I'm going to light a cigarette because I haven't had one in about 3.5 hours, which is good. It's taken me 2 days. Yes. Now I'm not trying to. Good night, Chloe. I'm not trying to get y'all to make me feel good. It's that I need feedback from y'all, because I don't know, would I stop doing it? Maybe not, but it's nice to know that, hey, I picked cards and they made sense to somebody. Now, to me, all 4 cards meant something, especially with the topic and so forth. And, and good old Duggar over there and our 4-leggeds, and how loyalty. And, I haven't really spoken about loyalty, but it goes right along there with honor. If you honor someone, then you're probably loyal to them. And if you're loyal to someone, then it probably means that you're being honored by that person. Like, Duggar honors me with his presence and makes me get up in the middle of the night and let him outside, But anyway, so let me read your comments. I know I can't believe it's been 2.5 hours and I have not stopped yakking. Yes, thumbs up. I'm being honest. Yes. Take care. Absolutely. Thank you, David. Yep, all cards had a good message. Thank you, Sarah. It's amazing you asked about any new power poles or electric work going on close by my house. I know, Lady Spitfire, the Spirit was asking me to send that to you and to check other electrical things near you, power supplies, stuff like that. And it's not necessarily the electrical, but they're telling me right now that it could be um, it could exacerbate your issue. In other words, it could be cosmic energy, but because something nearby, it could, really. Anyway, I think Isby says, I'm going to have to listen again. I was distracted and caught some good stuff in the midst of the company yakking. Thank you. At least you're honest, right? Thank you, Isby. And it's good to see you all. Deborah, Truex, the cards were very synchronistic with my day to day. And Isby said, I love the dog reading, what I caught of it. Yep. And so, but anyway, loyalty. That's basically what dog is teaching us, loyalty. And lizard is teaching us, to go into the dream state, and to understand things. But of all this stuff, you have to have that truth. Does this feel true to me? And oh, I had this dream, it must be true. Not necessarily. I mean, I've had dreams and I've had to wait years because, number one, I didn't want them to come true. They were that bad. And when they're reoccurring, like the Braves on Horseback one, and how clear and how the screaming and the gnawing and gnashing of teeth and all that. Oh my God. It only takes a brief second and I can hear all that and feel all that, that anguish. Oh my God. Anyway, get out of that one. But so I really don't want that one to manifest. But at the same time, after talking about it the other night, there are similar things that are happening. And it's just a curious thing. And it's like, I really don't want it to happen. But at some point, and that was something else that was stated, that those who are taking advantage and who have taken advantage of Mother Earth their payback's going to be hell. That basically, So what that dream was about the Mother Earth requiring the energy that was taken from her in return, not as revenge, but as an equalization of the energies. So, and that's come back to me in a couple other places, that Mother Earth wants her energy back. Mother Earth wants that which we're not going to pump the oil back down, but she wants honor and respect back for what we've taken out and what we've done to her, so, and for those people who refuse and who have been, instigators of that, they're going to have to pay. They might be the ones with their hair tied to the horse. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, but these crazy people are going to try to keep us in fear. They are. And of all the things, and I'm hearing them folks up there going, tell them to keep their panties out of a wad. Keep their underwear and from getting in knots now. Tell them now. Okay, you all been told. And for lack of anything better, we are all in this together. And one of the things that was discussed on 2 other channels was the fact that the powers that be were their intent for the internet, their intent, and what we're using it for is not what they intended. And that for those of us who, I just look at stuff and like I say, it's so crazy, it's so absurd, it's so nutty that you gotta laugh. And so in that, AI, on the other hand, not you, Bob. We love you, Bob. Here's a toast to our good friend Bob, who's recently been keeping things pretty, I haven't seen the video jumping around. So, and also Windstream put some new stuff at the top of the hill. But anyway. The idea that they are worried about us. They are scared of us because their plan did not come to fruition. We screwed up their goals. So, you say, well, And I can say this in return because when, my job went to Mexico, they screwed up my future. They screwed up a bunch of our futures and how we were going to, Biden. So this idea, though, that, then another track had to be taken, had to figure out another way, had to go in a different direction, had to look at things differently, just had to, as much as I didn't want to, the truth of the matter is that situations had changed. I'm still a good engineer. I still know how to do AutoCAD. I still know about drafting and drawings and dimensions and things. I still have all that, retained that information. So it's not like, I became stupid overnight. Well, back when I had those seizures, I was, but so I still have the ability. It's just that there is no situation to use it. Okay. And as I've tried to look around, well, you've been busted. Well, you're 68 years old. We don't need anybody. But you should listen to me about some of the things I do know that apparently you young whippersnappers ain't got a fucking clue about. But anyway, but to the point though, so they're trying to make old people obsolete. Now, there are those folks who say us old people are a drain on the economy. And I want to say this. If it weren't for old people, there wouldn't be any nursing homes that, guess what, employ people, nurses, doctors, therapists, the food services, wait a minute. Old people create the amount of money that old people spend on their medicines, keeping somebody afloat. But we old people are a drain on society. Listen, I paid into my Social Security. I'm not asking for anything I didn't already put into the system, okay? Now, these other people, well, I deserve Social Security. Why? Well, I'm 22 years old. I got a disability. Really? I'm... Oh, so you deserve money, but I worked for 55 years of my life, but I don't. They get more than I do, and they didn't put anything into the system. Wait, there are folks who have, worked for 5 years and are getting $1,500 a month. I worked all my life and I'm getting 1,000. What? Oh, Biden. Just remember that word, Biden. So, how do we deal with this? Well, I don't have much choice. But if the right people get into the right places, then I can bitch to my congressmen and maybe some senators, and maybe somebody will actually listen and go back to what they owe me from 10 years ago and say, listen, pay up. You owe me $400 a month over the last 10 years because you underpaid me. What? Yeah, all those illegal folks that you gave my money to, that's why you cut my salary so you could pay for their salaries. Who was involved in that? Oh, does Biden come to mind during the Obama? Think about that one. So they cut all of us folk to pay for the mother folk who are getting more money than us folk who paid in. Yeah, we need to fix this, right? But from the woo-woo and the update, I invite you to go out and do your own observation. But remember, you have to go to the same spot about the same time every night and, and observe. Where's Mars? Where, there are several different programs. Wait, there's one up here. Stellarium on the web is a really good one. It's free. And you can go check out, you can tell where you live, you can pick your declination, all kinds of background stuff you can do. And there are times when I look at that one and I go outside and go, that star ain't where they say it's supposed to be. So it ain't the stars that are moving unless you're a flat earther. It's the planet that's wobbling. Okay. And it will wobble as much as 20 degrees. And I've talked about it in other Earth wobble videos before, but I'm here. We're in one now, and other people are agreeing. So observe for yourself, and let's see where it takes us. Are we all going to die? At some point. Is it going to be tomorrow? Maybe. Should we live in fear or worry about it? Nah. Let's just do the best we can. Keep our collective stuff together. And remember, we are a part of the League of Like-Minded Beings. We are a soul tribe. We are angels from different dimensions. We are all spiritual beings, and we need to maintain our sovereignty. Oh, that was suggested in 2 separate videos today, too, that I listened to, in that we must maintain our sovereignty, maintain who we are. Don't give it up. Don't let it go to the chaos. Keep it away from them, folks. So, my friends, I love you. Isby, C19 was created to take out people who are costing the healthcare system a lot with their illnesses and medications. You know, Isby, there were a lot of, quote, supposedly smart people who took C19. And I haven't been hearing about it lately. But some folks said, C19, you really don't want to take that because of what it is. Well, it's reported to do this, this, and this. Yeah. And then certain people got very sick after they started taking it. And some well-known folks on the internet got sick. So I was going to take C19 myself, did some research on it. And my spirit guide said, don't do it. And I was like, but there's all this, don't do it. And now all of a sudden, C19's taken a really, why did it get quiet? You know what I'm saying? The C19 was on YouTube, this, and everybody was talking about it. It's just, Isby says, I have an autistic granddaughter. She was vaxxed as a baby. None of her sisters was vaxxed, and they are healthy while she is sickly. Yep. Oh, am I thinking of C60? Probably. What did I say? Michelle, Ken, my 5-year-old son is still nonverbal. Yep. Yeah, and I promise we're going to have a better discussion about that. I have given you a couple of things over the years, Michelle, about your son. But let's see. C19 was, oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha. You're right, Michelle. C19 was created to take out people who are costing health. Yes, that's true. Yes, I agree, Isby. Yes. And they're going to try it again. Just saying. That was the warning for the other day, the woo-woo update. They're going to try it again. Deborah says, many of those jobs have been reduced to telephone and computer services this year. Yep. Healthcare, care work for elderlies, dine in, dine out, etc. Absolutely. Yep. Sarah says, it's wobbling for sure. And vibrating, says Lady Spitfire. Yep. And I was thinking of C60. But to my point, though, have you heard about C60 much? I mean, it's really died down. And some people who started taking it, a couple of them got cancer or some other kinds of things, and it was supposed to fix all that. Oh, you're welcome, Michelle. And one of these days, we just need to have a chat. You know what I'm saying? And bring up a topic or something or an issue that you're having, and I'll see what I can do, because I have worked for many years with disabled folk and handicapped folk, and there are lots of things that I've learned personally and through training from Valdosta State College and from professors and people in the business and doctors and folks. So, you know, I've worked with a pediatrics doctor for many years. And I've worked a lot with behavior modification and teaching folks and theater and puppetry, and my list of life goes on in that respect. And so, oh, Sarah says, you've been taking C60? Okay, well, Sarah, you can be one of our guinea pigs then. How's it going for you? Do you feel any better? I just found it interesting that some of the people early on who were really promoting C60 got sick. And I'm not saying that anybody who takes it is going to get sick. It, I don't know, but they're just not promoting it like they were. It's just interesting. And I was hell bent for election on taking it. And so I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's interesting how it's disappeared off of the main topic of things. David says, Sarah, I have met with some of the finest people while wobbling. Isby says C60 didn't do nothing for me. Yep. So I'm curious, but it was just interesting that there was some, you know, I don't want to drop any names. I just don't think that's fair. But some of these folks we kind of sort of know. But anyway, my friends, I love you. Pushing 3 hours, and I really do have a butt cramp this time. And I'm out of coffee, and that cigarette burnt down by itself, and I really want to smoke. Shame on me, right? Okay, my friends, I love you. I do. Thank you. And the message after all of this from these other folks was that we're going to make it. Especially those of us who are at least aware that we're in this, we are in, the wave is here. We're in it. Okay. Talked about it before, but we're here. And many other folks are all agreeing we're here. It's here. And you can't stop a wave in the ocean. And anybody on this earth, it's like we're standing on the beach of the ocean. None of us are going to get away from it. None of us, because it's coming. And so the whole earth is going to get washed with these energies. And so, now how it affects us again, we've just got to be we got to be patient like Ant. As I look back on the cards of the subject matter, couldn't have asked her a better set of 4 cards. And the upside down grouse, we need to pay attention to that. So, my friends, I love you. Have a great week. We'll get together and see if we can't do a joint meditation, and maybe plan one for the 31st. If nothing else, maybe we'll tell jokes that night and stay away from anything scary or mean or killing or whatever. And we'll laugh at stuff, instead of allowing the evil side to bring it down. But anyway, thank you, my friends. Thank you, Michelle. Isby, you're good night, my brother. Back to you. Deborah, much love. Back at you. Thank you. Mossy Man, what is my email? DWNull52. It's lowercase. DWNULL52 at gmail.com. It's in the title somewhere on the YouTube page. But anyway. And so, yeah. If you got a question or something or whatever you want to talk, most of you know that I am available. And that would be Refreshing Twist says truth. Yep. Thank you, Sarah. And you all are awesome. Keep up the good work, my friends. Keep it up. Don't give up. We may not understand how it's going to turn out, but it's going to turn out. And as long as we stay positive and say, well, we might have a hurricane and the wind might get really bad, but we're going to make it on the other side. We're going to make it. Now, true, we got to be honest with this. Some of us might not, but generally, humanity, us, we're going to make it. So we just have to stay positive in that, okay? So until next time, and who knows, I might just, show up in the middle of something. Love you too, Sarah. Yep, never give up. Thank you, Truth in Me. I mean it. I love you all. 31st improv night. There you go. That's not a bad idea. Maybe we'll just play music and have a hootenanny that night. Okay, my friends. I love you. Thank you. So, as always, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart and my heart soul and my soul's heart, I continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, and all of those folks you might meet along the way will learn to accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom from the universe. I continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, all of your relatives, and all of your relations, past, present, and to come, will learn to accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom from the universe. And I continue to pray in that wondrous number 3 that each and every one of you will learn to accept and receive and share the knowledge, the healing, and the blessings from the universe, and that you continue to reject the chaos that comes into your life. Be enlightened, everyone, says Sarah. And until next time, you all know the drill. Ween! And thank you, Bob, for another great show. And thank you all. Be safe. As we say down around here, TTFN, right? Ta-ta for now. From South Georgia and the little O'Clockney, what? Something go wrong here. And the little O'Clockney Hermitage, I bid you adios till next time. Love you all. Be safe.